Hi guys, welcome back aboard what will hopefully soon be our DIY hurricane-damaged catamaran project boat. Some comments on the last couple of videos have deemed this boat beyond repair, but there were also people that said that when I started the refit of our current boat. And about a year and a half ago, we crossed the Atlantic on that boat. So I am still optimistic that we can get this awesome Antares 44 back on the water. Is it going to be an easy project? Heck no. Is it going to be a quick project? Heck no also. Is it going to be a good opportunity for us to get into a boat that we could otherwise not afford? Heck yes. Now, I think we can get this boat back on the water, provided we can get around the bit of red tape and bureaucracy we're dealing with. We're still waiting to hear back from the Coast Guard, and we also still have that AdSense situation looming over us. Last week, I took the first stab at getting the boat sealed up so we no longer get rainwater inside of the boat. And that involved, for instance, patching the big crack that was here on the cabin tub. Now, the weather forecast says that it's supposed to rain later today. I don't really see it as of right now, but if we get some rain, that would be awesome because that way we can track down any remaining leaks. It is awfully dark in the aft cabin, so I've picked up a light, but until it starts raining, we have some other stuff we can entertain ourselves with, like, for instance, getting the standing water out of the keel. I have absolutely zero desire to inhale any of this yucky bilge water here, so I picked up one of these jiggly siphoning hoses. Mr. Siphon Hose did a great job of getting the water out of the keel. Now, I don't care about the last little bit of water in the keel until we've figured out if there are more leaks. Having poked around a little in the starboard head, I think we have our first evidence of a leak. We got some rain last night and there's some dust down here that's looking a little bit wet, and right above this area there is a hatch, so I'm pretty sure this hatch is leaking. Because we got that bit of rain last night, I might as well take a look here in the aft cabin to see if I can see any obvious leaks. I don't see a lot in here, but I do see a puddle of water right here. That is also right below a hatch, so that's probably leaking. Other than that one spot and possibly the hatch right above the bunk here, I don't think there are any leaks in here. Over here in the port hull, we have more water in the engine compartment. I think that's from yesterday also. I was pretty sure there was only one leak over here, and that was the missing port light in the head. There must be somewhere else water is coming in. All the dust that's everywhere on the boat is actually turning out to be a bit of an advantage because I see more wet dust down here. And right above that spot is, you'll never guess it, a hatch. I guess you could say that last week when I repaired the big crack up on the cabin tub and filled all the holes up on the deck, I kind of missed the barn door in terms of leaks, or maybe we should say the barn hatches. Ah, yes, and that is the highbrow, high-quality humor you guys can expect from this channel. The positive news here is that my port light fix from last week seems to be working perfectly. There's no leaks in here, so that's one win, I guess. There is some evidence of water damage up here also, but I think that is just from the hatch. It cannot be from the deck hole joint on this boat because they're made in a really cool way, so it would never leak, but yeah, that's probably just the hatch. In the port aft cabin, I don't see any evidence of any leaks. There's a bunch of mold in here, but that's probably just from sitting in the Florida heat and humidity. I think we're seeing a bit of a trend here. The hatches are the big culprit for leaks right now, at least. I wish we would get some rain so I could see if that was the only thing still leaking, but it was supposed to start raining right about now, and yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. The only rain I see on weather radar is pretty far north of here, so yeah. This is the first Sunday I've been aboard the catamaran, and this little salvage yard is located in the middle of an industrial neighborhood. So normally when I come here, there is a ton of noise. especially because the city dump is right next to us. So normally there's beeping of trucks backing, there's music blasting, there's a mechanic over there. There's normally a lot of noise here, but today it's just super quiet. In terms of finding a spot to do a somewhat extensive refit like the one of the Antares here, this yard is basically perfect. There are no new boats here. There are nobody that's gonna get upset with you for generating tons of man glitter. And it's also very cheap, or fairly cheap at least. It's $3.50 a month to keep the catamaran here. Compared to Denmark, that's a lot, but compared to the rest of Florida, that seems like a really good deal. I'm not going to disclose the location of the yard because, well, it's not our boat yet, and I don't know if Brian wants people showing up, and also if it was our boat, I mean, I like chatting as much as the next person, but when I'm here to work, and if I get to chatting and not to working, then the boat will never be done. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. It is a few days later, and I've returned with some stuff to at least temporarily seal up the leaks from the hatches. On a quick side note, let me just disable the voice isolation I normally add when editing these videos. And that is what the sound is like normally here in the yard. Lots of beeping, lots of noise. Yeah, just consider yourself lucky you're not watching this on smell-o-vision because, like I said, the city dump is right over there. I don't think it's a good idea to rebed all of the hatches now because most of them are in bad shape. They'll have to be replaced anyways, and also they'll have to come off when I want to paint the deck, hence the temporary fix. I really don't like taping over the hatches. It feels like a little bit of a shitty solution, to be honest. But on a positive note, Brian has a couple of brand new hatches installed already. This one looks to be bedded with butyl tape, so it should be easy to remove once I need to paint the deck. Even if the tape only buys me a couple of months before they start leaking again, I think it's well worth it. That was about $12 worth of tape. And for those of you who guessed last week that the mystery roller tape here might be repair tape, well, I picked up one of these Gorilla repair tapes this morning on the way here, and this stuff feels exactly like my mystery roll, so I think you might have been onto something. With the hatches thoroughly taped up, I wanted to remove the little bit of standing water that was on top of the port keel. Doing that will allow me to more easily check for leaks in the future. There was a pretty decent amount of water there, and considering the small amount of rain we've gotten lately, it is surprising that that could all come from the forward hatch. Oh, come on, rain, come on! I could just take some buckets of water and pour them over the hatches to see that those don't leak, but then, yeah, I don't know if there's anywhere else that's leaking. So really the best thing that could happen is a bit of rain. It's going to be the best test to see if we still have leaks. My very loose plan for this week was to see if I could figure out why I got high moisture readings on this keel the first time I came here to see the boat, and maybe do some kind of fix. But having taken a closer look at the false bottom that's glassed in on top of the keel here, I am 99% sure that the leak is coming from up top, which would make a lot of sense. The fix for that would be to just grind down a bunch of glass here, lay up some more glass on top of it, and that will seal it. But yeah, that's too big of a job to do before I know that the boat is actually ours. I just noticed that when I step on the false bottom here, water comes out these holes here. Look at this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the leak's coming from up top. It seems like the new catchphrase here on the channel is, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's definitely true for this too. It's not a big deal. It's just a couple of weeks worth of work, I think, and then it'll be fixed. I've got some news to share, and it's much better news than the fact that the boat now potentially is leak-free for a little bit. I'm not going to lie, the last couple of weeks have been pretty rough for me. I might even go as far as to say frustrating and depressing, because we are waiting for the registration issue to get solved, and we've had this AdSense issue pop up. I've been feeling like our lives has been kind of in a holding pattern while we've just been waiting for stuff that's kind of out of our control. All I want in the world is to be able to dig into this catamaran and get covered in oh glorious man glitter, but I can't because of those two issues, and that has been very frustrating. Now I'm 99% sure that we can get the registration issue solved. The AdSense issue was more of a joker. If you were paying attention there, you might have noticed that I said was more of a joker because this morning I woke up to an email from Google. Said email informed us that our AdSense account should now have been restored to its former glory, and we should again be able to earn money off of the ads here on YouTube. Eager to avoid any issues in the future, I promptly replied and profusely thanked the person on the other end, and also asked them if there was something we could do differently if we ever in the future need to switch AdSense account to make sure this issue doesn't pop up again. The reply was prompt and courteous. It was basically a copy paste of the exact same text I got from creator support before I started this whole adventure, and that's the exact procedure I followed to the millimeter. So yeah, oh Google, you big giant faceless corporation, silly you. I think the important news here is, of course, that the issue has been solved, and that is a giant step towards us being able to get started on this project. Although it is more like one step backwards, one step forwards, because we're back where we were a few weeks ago. But we should be hearing from the Coast Guard sometime this week, so fingers crossed. Thank you so much to all of the awesome people that have helped out in one way or another during this difficult little ordeal. Thank you to all of the patrons. Thank you to the new patrons that signed up when I published the AdSense video. Thank you to the Google employees that reached out. That was really awesome. And thank you to Nikki from Gone with the Winds that put us in contact with our partner manager. Just thank you to all of you awesome people that have in one way or another helped out. Enough yammering on. I noticed this thing down here on the ground a while back. I think this is the doohickey that goes in between the two trampolines up on deck. With this being Florida, I'm sure there's at least one alligator and a bushel of snakes living under this thing. Okay, no bitey. The top of this thing doesn't look that bad, although there is there's definitely a crack here, and this needs to be ground back so that there's room for this lip for the hatch to sit on top of. There's a bit of work to be done here. And it looks like we also have the top bits here, although they seem a little bit flexible. I don't know how rigid these were from the factory, but there definitely is some delamination on this. There's quite a bit of damage up here, and yeah, as you can see, it flexes quite a bit. But these two things are well supported by these starboard doohickeys down here under it, so maybe it doesn't need to be that rigid. What if, while we're waiting for the registration stuff to just come through, I fix up this thing? I think that would be a great little mini project. There's some glassing that needs to be done, some fairing. We could maybe try our hand at painting with some new products I haven't tried before. I think this could be a cool little mini project while we're just in a holding pattern. I have ordered everything I need to take the doohickey, which I have just learned is referred to in humor as a tramp ramp. Now, I don't know if that name is because it sits between the trampolines, or because, well, it's very common here on YouTube. You see a lot of half-naked ladies frolicking up on the foredeck. Either way, I think it's a really fun name. But all of those supplies should get here early next week, and I'm really looking forward to that little project. Before ending this video, I want to ask you guys for some advice, because if we get the boat, and I think it's 99% certainty by now, I would love to get the boat under some kind of cover, a tent perhaps. Getting the boat under cover would get both it and myself out of the sun and out of the rain. There are a ton of benefits to putting some kind of cover over it. It'll make it a lot easier to do the repairs up here on deck. It'll make it far less terrifying to paint the deck and also the hull because rain. And yeah, it'll also make it easier to cool down the inside of the boat with a little bit of air conditioning. So some kind of cover would be awesome. Here in the US, you can get these really cool combiner doohickeys for building giant tents out of essentially chain link fence rails. And I think that would be a really cool way to cover up the boat. I've never seen anything like that in Europe, so I don't know if that is the best way of going about doing it. So if you have some kind of experience with building a giant tent out of one of those type of kit thingies, then I would absolutely love to hear about it down in the comment section. The big challenge is of course going to be the beam of the catamaran. This thing is like 22 feet wide, so the pitch of the roof can't be super steep, otherwise the thing is gonna freaking collide with the moon. But I have seen some of these combiner things that only have a 12-degree pitch, so I think that could work out. I've seen some people on YouTube using heat shrink for a roof on those things, but I think I would want something that can be easily removed in case we have a storm heading this way, because it is Florida and apparently there are swirly winds here every once in a while. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that idea down in the comment section. Also, before ending this video, I have what I will interpret as a little bit of good news. We haven't heard anything definitive from the Coast Guard yet, but we did get a request for some additional information, which I think means they've started processing our paperwork. At least that's what I'm hoping it means. The boat's registration is currently in what we could refer to as a bit of a limbo state. So it's not a straightforward sale just from Brian to us. There's some more loops we have to jump through, and that's why it's taking so long. So yeah, I mean, we can't do anything but just be patient. And yeah, once we've gone through the whole process, I will share some more details to potentially help out other people that end up in this kind of messy situation. And on that bit of positive news, we'll end this week's video here. I hope to see all of you guys back here aboard the catamaran next week for taking the tramp ramp from basically trash to $1 million. Now, the video after that one, I think we're going to go back and do some projects aboard Athena, because I am just kind of spinning my wheels here aboard the catamaran trying to do something, but it's not our boat yet. And I know you guys would love to see more catamaran stuff, but yeah, I think we're going to have to just take a little break from the catamaran and then come back when it's actually our boat. But we'll figure that out next week. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this week. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. See you!